Okay, this is Hal again, and this is the continuation of the free 101 quick SEO tips and tricks to help boost your traffic to your website, optimize your website. Today, I'm going to focus on technical SEO, and I have 20 tips and tricks that you can implement immediately to be able to improve your website performance. Please note that technical SEO is actually the backbone of your website engine. So this is a very, very important part. I will also release another part on link building, and these two are very important before we address the content SEO. Tip number one, under technical SEO, migrate your site to HTTPS. If your site is still on HTTP, migrate it to HTTPS. At OnMax Host Digital, our managed WordPress hosting plans, all of our plans come with free SSL certificate. So if you're hosting with us, you don't have to worry about that. But if you are migrating from HTTP to HTTPS, you must make sure that all the resources, including images and pages and everything, is not being served on HTTP, but rather on HTTPS. And if you need help with that, it can be tricky sometimes. Contact us. I will put the link below to our website so that we can help you. Tip number two, search engines are crawl, even duplicate URLs. So if you have two pages that are similar, I would suggest that, not suggest, but it is recommended that you use canonical tags to indicate which one should be crawled and which one traffic should be directed to. Tip number three, keep the loading speed down to 2 to 3 seconds, okay? This is important. The Core Web Vitals report, along with your developer, and you can contact us if you don't have a developer, and we can help you to figure out how you can improve your site loading speed. Tip number four, aim for Google's top stories carousel. Okay, this Google's top stories carousel is the best way to make it there by creating AMP pages, accelerated mobile pages, publishing legitimate news, and submitting the site to Google News. That's for websites that produce news. Tip number five, remember to use rel canonical tags. Any page that can be reached through a different URL should have the rel canonical tag to avoid any confusion about duplicate content on your website. Tip number six, always remember to check whether your pages are indexed. How do you do this? Go to Google search and type site : domain, no spaces, and ensure that none of them is double indexed. Okay? Tip number seven, ensure that you do not use more than one H1 tag per page. Now, in one of the recent Google Office Hour with John Mullen, search advocate at Google, I believe he indicated that that is really not necessarily a very big deal, that the algorithm are able to figure that out, but I will provide a link to that video so that you can listen, watch for yourself. Tip number eight, use image alt attributes. Google is now moving towards visual search. So using attributes will provide a written description that the algorithm can read for the visually impaired, and so make sure that it is descriptive, so when it reads to them, they know exactly what the image is all about. Okay? Tip number nine, create separate site maps for different sections of your website, such as images, videos, blogs, etc., etc. That way, Google scroll spiders will be able to focus properly. Tip number 10, if your site has dynamic URLs, adjust the URL parameters in Google Search Console. Okay. Tip number 11, remember to change all the internal links from HTTP to HTTPS. I already mentioned that above. Tip number 12, in order to improve your user experience and SEO, always add breadcrumbs to your site. It is really useful for navigation purposes, okay? Tip number 13, avoid long redirects, okay? By avoiding chain redirects, you can help the search engines to crawl your website more quickly. If there is redirect after redirect, if you redirect this page to this page, and this page to this page, and this page to this page, it's a long journey. It will make the crawling unnecessarily slower. Okay. Tip number 14, opt for vector format image files. Okay. When you use vector files, it allows you to have better image quality on different devices. Okay. So think about cross-device rendering. Tip number 15, consider using a content delivery network, CDN, to host your images. This helps to speed up your website considerably, okay? Because images are some of the culprits for slowing down page load speed. Tip number 16, ensure that you optimize all your images for page speed and user friendliness. The previous tip about hosting your images on a CDN network, on a content delivery network, will achieve that result. Okay, so tip number 17, when you have products with similar names and descriptions, it is better to create canonical tags instead of redirecting them. So I just talked about redirection. Use canonical tag and the crawlers will know that this is the page that needs to be served. Search engine algorithm, I mean. Tip number 18. This has to do with whether you should use shared or private hosting. In one of the recent Google Office hour, John Mueller, again, search advocate at Google, said that it didn't matter whether you host on a private server or on shared server, as long as the server is optimized and is performing well, there is no impact on SEO. Okay? Tip number 19, consider investing in visual search. Remember, I talked about visual search. Google is moving increasingly towards visual search. So incorporating visual search in the marketing strategy can be highly effective, especially for retailers and e-commerce businesses. Okay? Tip number 20, final, use structured data to improve ranking. Okay? While it isn't easy for a site to get on the first page of the search engine result page, SERPs, using structured data can improve the chances significantly. I will talk about structured data in a different video entirely, and I will be publishing a new article on this topic. Okay, so now, link building, another section. I promise that I will be covering link building in this video. For link building, we have 10 tips and tricks. Number 1, make sure you use disallow tool to get rid of those spammy links. The links that other websites are linking to you. You don't have any control on that. You can't tell the people to stop linking to you. But people may notice that your website is good, has good content, and they link to you. But you have a tool that can help you to figure out which link to allow or which link to disallow. Tip number 2, paid links can cost you. Let me say it this way. Paid links will cost you. Okay? I will put a link to Google website, webmaster guidelines that clearly state that the search engine is not in favor of paid links, so avoid them. Tip number 3, stay away from bad links. Okay, again, bad links. If Google comes across any risky link, building tactics, it could backfire big time on you. You can be manually penalized, you know. Manual action can be taken against you, and it may cost you to try to get rid of them. Tip number 4, stick to high quality directories. You know, it is said that you need to list your website in as many directories as possible, but always research, investigate to make sure that the directory that you're putting your website in is high quality, or that will impact your SEO. Tip number 5, build a clear internal linking structure. So you plan your internal linking strategy carefully so that Google can navigate your site easily. So you know how you create this blog article, and you want the article to link to this page and to link to this page, or the way you build your navigation on your website. You have to plan that very, very carefully, because that is the path that the Google spiders will use, or search engine spiders will use to navigate your website. Tip number 6, make sure your link profile is healthy. Again, a healthy link profile helps to establish the overall quality and authority of your site. So link building and linking on your website is very, very, very important, and it does impact your SEO and ranking. Tip number 7, focus on quality instead of quantity when it comes to links. It's better to have 10 high quality links pointing to your, linking to your website, rather than have 10,000 bad quality links. That large quantity is not going to compensate for poor quality. Tip number 8, manual outreach can work wonders. And what is manual outreach? Build relationships in the industry. The more you build relationships with others within your industry, the better chances you have that once, and obviously produce quality content that is worth linking, okay? Linkable quality. And then as you reach out, campaigning, meeting people, developing relationships, you know, networking, then you will eventually get high quality links. Tip number 9, create no-follow outbound links. In case you end up linking to a low-quality website, you can use them for external links. Tip number 10, see to it that your internal links are logically placed. Remember, internal linking structure? It's best to ensure that when you link internally, the content around the link is related to the keyword. Okay, so don't just link to just about any page. Make sure that it makes sense. Okay, thank you.